this. Governor Christie, good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Nora, thanks for having me.
I want to talk politics in just a minute, but first I want to get your take on the headlines this morning on Iran. A deal to freeze Iran's nuclear program has fallen apart. How big of a setback do you think this is?
Nora, listen, I'm the governor of New Jersey, and I think there are a lot of people you could have and probably will have on the program who are significantly better briefed on this than I am. And I think when guys like me start to shoot off on opinions about this kind of stuff, it's really ill-advised. So I'll leave it to Secretary Kerry and the folks that are in charge of this to make decisions about where we go. And then once they put something together, if they do, then I'll make a judgment on that. But it's just I'm not the right person to be asking that question to, with all due respect.
But you're a national political figure. You're a leader in the Republican Party. You may someday run for president. Do you have a view about whether Iran should continue to enrich uranium?
Well, listen, like I said, I think the folks who are involved in this on a day-to-day basis should be making those kind of opinions known publicly. For me, I'm the governor of New Jersey, and my job is to run the state of New Jersey, and it's just something I think, in all seriousness, Nora, that folks in my position who spout off opinions off the top of their head just wind up doing more harm than good. I'm not going to engage in that.
All right, let's turn now to politics. Congratulations on your victory this past week. I want to remind our viewers how you won, because you're a Republican and New Jersey is a very blue state. You won 66% of independents. You won 32% of Democrats, 51% of Hispanic voters, and 21% of African American voters. Is there a lesson there for the rest of the Republican Party?
Yeah, the lesson is to govern, Nora. The lesson is to govern and to show up. And let me explain what I mean. On governing, it's about doing things, accomplishing things, reaching across the aisle, and crafting accomplishments. And ours, I think, are significant. 143,000 new private sector jobs in the last 4 years. A $2.3 billion business tax cut to help create those jobs. Reforming teacher tenure for the first time in 100 years in New Jersey. Reforming a broken pension and benefit system that's going to save $120 billion over the next 30 years. And spending less in this budget year, fiscal year 14, than was spent in New Jersey in fiscal year 2008, 6 years ago. So you govern. All those are bipartisan accomplishments because I have a completely democratic legislature. And showing up, what I mean by that is that you can't just show up 6 months before an election into groups that have not normally voted for you and expect that they are going to vote for you. I've been working on this for 4 years, going to places like Irvington, New Jersey, one of our cities where I got 4.7% of the vote 4 years ago. I did a town hall meeting there a year and a half ago. There were more people in the church than voted for me in 2009. But you go there, you listen, and you present your views, and that's the way you bring people in to your movement.
As you know, Hispanics are the fastest growing demographic in this country. Your party has struggled with the Hispanic vote. Do you believe the Republican Party, Congress, needs to pass an immigration bill in the next 14 months in order to appeal to Hispanic voters?
I think that they have to fix a broken immigration system because it's what's right for our country and what's good for our economy. And that's why they need to fix the current broken immigration system. They shouldn't be doing it from a political perspective.
Do you think there'll be a bill in the next 14 months?
I hope they do, Nora. I hope they do. That's what they should be doing. That's what people are frustrated by, that there are obvious problems that need to be fixed and that the people in Washington, both parties, are not fixing these problems, nor is the president. And that's the problem. And they look at a place like New Jersey where we're not using divided government as an excuse not to act. We get together, we argue, we fight, we debate, but then we get around a table and we conclude the argument by getting things done, and they're not doing that in Washington, and that's the thing that I think frustrates Americans the most, and I know it frustrates New Jerseyans when looking at Washington, D.C.
You just got elected to a second term as governor of New Jersey. You're also going to be the chairman of the Republican Governors Association, and a lot of Republicans I've spoken with say you are, in fact, already laying the groundwork to run for president in 2016. What does Mary Pat say about this?
Well, listen, Mary Pat's completely supportive of the 2 jobs that I told her I have in 2014 in my professional life. One is being governor of New Jersey and looking to finish the job we started in the first 4 years. And the second is I'm honored to be chairman of the Republican Governors Association, 36 governors races in 2014, and I'll be traveling the country raising money and campaigning for my fellow governors and challengers to try to make sure we increase our numbers from the current 29 to an even higher number.
So can I ask you specifically, what major policy and political goals do you have for the next year?
Well, in the next year, we want to lower taxes in New Jersey, income taxes in New Jersey. I'd like to continue education reform by a greater expansion of charter schools, getting choice, school choice for parents, so that in failing schools in New Jersey, and there's 200 failing schools in New Jersey, that those parents can get a voucher to send their child to a private or parochial school. We want to continue along those paths and also continue to grow private sector jobs in our economy, which we have been doing, and I want to do even more of so we get more New Jerseyans back to work.
Let's turn now to the president's rollout of the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. This week he apologized to the American people, said, "I'm sorry." Do you think that's enough?
No, it's not enough, but I had said to him earlier last week that he should apologize and tell people that he was wrong. You mean you were the one who suggested to President Obama that he should do an interview and say, "I'm sorry"? I don't know if I was the one who suggested it, but I said last week that people should apologize, and I talked about it in general in public life. When you make a mistake, you should own up to it and apologize for it, and I think people give you credit for that. The fact is that the president didn't tell the truth. It turned out not to be true that people could keep their insurance policies no matter what, that they could keep their doctor no matter what. And we need to confront that issue, and the president needs to deal with it in a head-on way. That's why I didn't do a state-based exchange in New Jersey to implement Obamacare, because anyone who's managed anything or run anything over the course of their careers could see that this was a train wreck. And I was not going to get the people of New Jersey involved in this train wreck in that way. And so that's what we've done in New Jersey. And the president needs to deal with what he said and how it turned out not to be true. Governor Chris Christie, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.